Imagine hurtling around a MotoGP track at breakneck speeds, only to feel like the bike's front end is betraying you. That's the core frustration Fabio Di Giannantonio is voicing about Ducati's upcoming 2026 Desmosedici GP. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this just a rider's personal gripe, or a glaring flaw that could reshape the championship? Let's dive into his insights, breaking down the challenges and hopes for the future, and see what it all means for MotoGP fans and newcomers alike. After a year plagued by unpredictable performances, the Italian rider is crystal clear on what Ducati needs to tweak for the 2026 model. Di Giannantonio has shown he can compete for podium spots in some races, delivering exciting moments that keep fans on the edge of their seats. Yet in other events, he's found himself outside the top six, and at Brno, he couldn't even secure a single point. These ups and downs have been somewhat overshadowed by Francesco Bagnaia's own struggles. You can read more about Bagnaia here. But Di Giannantonio's rollercoaster season mirrors his fellow Italians in many ways. For beginners in MotoGP, this inconsistency isn't just about finishing positions. It's about how small technical issues can turn a potential winner into a bat marker overnight. Looking ahead to next year, Di Giannantonio zeroes in on one key area: the front-end feel of the bike. He believes the 2026 version of the iconic Desmosedici GP needs a more responsive and honest front to truly unleash its potential. The part we really need to work on is the front, he shared during an interview on Thursday at the Valencia MotoGP circuit. Because this bike is incredibly fast, but we must enhance that front feel to get a more genuine sensation that lets us really push hard. And this is the part most people miss. In MotoGP, front feeling refers to how well the rider senses feedback from the front tyre through the handlebars. It's like the difference between driving a car with precise steering and one that feels vague and unreliable. If it's lacking, even a powerhouse bike like the Ducati becomes hard to control at high speeds. Di Giannantonio elaborated that while the MotoGP machine boasts enormous potential for blistering lap times, a poor front feel makes it tough to tap into that speed fully. You can go super fast on it, he explained, but without that feel, extracting every ounce of performance is a real challenge. He pointed out that the 2025 model's subdued front sensitivity complicates things, especially on weekends when natural riding doesn't automatically yield quick times. Basically, there's not enough feedback from the front, he said. When you're flowing naturally at high speeds, everything clicks. But if your natural pace isn't there, and you have to force the bike to give you that speed, relying on trust in the machine, it's incredibly difficult this year because that feel is absent. To put this in perspective for newcomers, think of it like riding a bicycle uphill. If the front wheel feels solid and communicative, you can pedal confidently. But if it wobbles or feels disconnected, every effort feels wasted, and you might crash or slow down. Di Giannantonio's call for improvement could spark debate. Do you think other riders face similar issues? Or is this unique to Ducati? Some might argue that riders should adapt, but others could counter that bike design should cater to human limits for safety and performance. On a brighter note, Di Giannantonio enjoyed a solid start to the Valencia weekend, finishing 7th in Friday practice and qualifying directly for Q2. He was particularly happy with his race pace on worn tyres, which is crucial for strategy in longer sessions, and felt he had more one-lap speed left in the tank. It was a solid day, he reflected after practice. Our race pace was strong with the race tyres, and the qualifying attack at the end was decent. Not my absolute best, as I left a bit of time in some corners, but enough to make Q2. That's positive. Despite this encouraging opening, he's cautiously optimistic about maintaining that momentum into Saturday. We built on what worked 2 years ago, the last time we were here, and the bike seems to be behaving well, said the VR46 racing team rider. I'm usually a little apprehensive after Friday, having seen the setup change from day to day before. But this time, I'm hopeful we'll carry this over tomorrow. This anecdote highlights a common MotoGP theme. One good session can turn a weekend around, but consistency is key. For fans, it begs the question, should teams focus more on stability across practice days? Or is pushing for peak performance worth the risk of inconsistency? Peter, our paddock insider, with 2 decades of experience covering MotoGP, has witnessed legends like Valentino Rossi rise and fall. He's been at the heart of stories, from Suzuki's departure to Marc Marquez's injury woes, providing that expert lens on the sport's highs and lows. So, what's your take? Do you believe Di Giannantonio's focus on front feel is the missing puzzle piece for Ducati's dominance? Or might other factors, like rider technique, play a bigger role? Could this be a controversial move that pits innovation against tradition in MotoGP design? Share your thoughts in the comments. Agreement or disagreement, welcome.